Once again, hello and welcome. My name is Zarina Infante. My pronouns are she, her. I am Commute Seattle's program director. I have the pleasure of moderating today's event. We're excited for you to be joining us today for this very important and timely presentation on navigating Revive I-5 in 2026. We'll hear from WSDOT on construction timelines and why this work is needed now, followed by practical steps you as an employer can take to help your teams continue to get around despite traffic impact. Before we get started, let me introduce Commute Seattle for those that don't know and uh, and to those who are new to our work. So next slide, please. Okay. So Commute Seattle is a nonprofit that serves over 200,000 workers citywide. Through our partnerships with large and small employers, properties, destinations, public agencies, and community organizations, we help people shift to sustainable transportation options and comply with city and state regulations, including Washington's commute to production law and the City of Seattle's Transportation Management Program. Commute Seattle's mission is to make it easy for everyone across Puget Sound to walk, ride, or roll to Seattle's opportunities. We envision a region where affordable and sustainable options are the best way for everyone to connect to the important places in their lives. Next slide, please. Okay, to tell you a little bit more about Commute University is a series of programs designed to inform and inspire employee and building transportation coordinators and any champion of transportation benefits to level up their commute program. In this series, you'll learn from a broad range of panelists about resources and strategies to help your team get to where they need to go without needing to drive alone. Commute University topics and schedules are responsive to emerging needs, including construction impacts, major events, and new transit infrastructure. Past lessons include how to start van pool and how to be a bike champion at your work site. And with that, I'm excited to turn to our program. Today's lessons is navigating Revive I-5 in 2026. We are joined by Travis Phelps and Michelle Wynn from WSDOT, who are here to help you know what to expect in the year ahead and why this construction is so important and needed now. Following WSDOT's overview, we'll hear from Tara Peters, Communications Director at Commute Seattle, about practical strategies you can implement at your business to help your employees and visitors choose non-drive alone travel during this construction. If you have any questions, be sure to put them in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. We'll have time for Q&A after WSDOT's overview and again at the end of the program. Today's webinar should wrap up by 4 p.m. and attendees will receive a recording at the end of the event and will be available on our website for reference. Now, I'm excited to turn it over to WSDOT.
Well, hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thanks for taking some time to spend with us to learn more about Revive I-5. I'm sure a lot of you saw media coverage yesterday, or you've been following this for the last couple of years. Michelle and I are going to take you through a broad overview of what this is. We'll talk about the rough construction schedule, what's important in terms of why are we fixing the Ship Canal Bridge. We'll also focus on things that we should be preparing for longer-term closures that we're going to be seeing over the next several years. Let's just hop right into it. Let's jump to the next slide. The focus of our work is on the Ship Canal Bridge. Now, if you were with us over the summer, you know we had a 4-week-long lane reduction along northbound I-5. That was to replace aging concrete panels that make up the driving surface that travel on. The work that's going to take place in 2026 and 2027 finishes that job. But you may have questions about why are we focused on the Ship Canal Bridge right now? Thing number one, this is aging structure. It's over 60 years old. and the bridge deck really hasn't been touched with a major rehab since the 80s. So it's been roughly 40 years. This is the backbone of our city. It's a backbone of a state's economy as well, and it serves roughly 240,000 vehicles a day. Those are drivers, it's freight, it's buses. It really helps keep everybody moving, especially in Puget Sound where we have there's not a lot of north-south routes, to put it bluntly. That being said, we've also had more than 200 emergency repairs since 2019. So watching this structure over time, if you've driven it lately, you can still see that lattice work of emergency patches and fixes that our crews have been working on over the last several years. Let's jump into the next slide and talk about the planned preservation works. This is a 3-year schedule. You'll see the bar chart in the top. We've got a green with a check mark. We've got a light yellow and mustard color with check mark. That's the work that we completed in 2025. If you look at the graphic on the right, we have the schedule also color coded with the areas of the Ship Canal Bridge we have been working on. That green that you're seeing, that is the result of the 4-week closure we had in August. We've also been working over the fall to replace a lot of the existing drainage structures with more modern drainage systems. But the big stuff happens when we jump into 2026. This is where we reduce I-5, northbound I-5 to 2 lanes across Ship Canal Bridge. There's going to be 2 big pushes of this work. The first starts as early as this weekend. This black bar that you'll see right at the end of the 2026, that is the full weekend northbound closure that will need to set up our traffic control to transition traffic across the bridge, mobilize all of our equipment in, and restripe the roadway. If it's weather dependent, but assuming the Mother Nature works with us, on Monday morning, I-5 will be reduced to 2 lanes. It's going to remain in that configuration until just before the FIFA World Cup. We'll have another full closure of northbound I-5 to pick up all of our traffic control, restripe the roadway, and make sure all lanes are open for World Cup. World Cup will get here. We'll have fun with soccer with 750,000 of our best friends from out of the area. Once World Cup concludes, we're back with another full weekend closure, and this time shifting and focusing our efforts on the left side of I-5, hopefully wrapping that up by the end of 2026. During that time, the express lanes are going to run in the direction of the work. They're going to be focused in the northbound direction 24/7 while we're working on the northbound side of I-5. As we move into 2027, we switch sides. We start to focus in on the southbound lanes. There's one less weekend closure because we're only setting up and taking down our traffic control. We're switching from one side to the other just one time. There's no big event in the center of this. So that being said, we still will have a full several weekend closures to set up, switch sides, but we'll have southbound I-5 reduced to 2 lanes for the majority of 2027. This is going to allow us to get in, take an aggressive approach, and get out as soon as possible. And when we're done at the end of 2027, folks will have a nice, smoother driving surface that is much more reliable than the surface that we currently have on the Ship Canal Bridge. And by that, I'm talking about the emergency repairs and also the aging expansion joints and other parts of the driving surface. Let's jump to the next one. We'll talk about, real quickly, just recap the work that we did over the summer. If you've driven out on northbound I-5, you can see a pretty clear contrast between the work that happened during the summer months versus the aging concrete. Here's an aerial shot here. This allowed us to replace roughly 20% of the bridge deck itself, along with 5 expansion joints. Those are the pieces of steel that allow the concrete to flex with the heat. Those do age, and they also do tend to pop up in traffic and cause other emergency repairs. We're fixing those as well. Drainage systems. This is one of the unsung heroes of our highway system. There's a lot of rain in Seattle, as you know. We need a really robust stormwater system. As we're out there rehabbing the surface, we're also replacing a lot of the drains. We're able to get 106 scuppers, as we call them, or drain inlets, essentially, replaced from the 60s with some new modern drains. And we'll have some photos of those here in a little bit. This is also really important because, like an aging house, if you bought an aging house, I actually live in one. So this is partly me, but using this as a therapy session. But you can have aging siding, and water can intrude in that siding. It can damage the substructure under your wall. The same thing can happen here in the Ship Canal Bridge. Getting in and getting our crew some exposure to what we might find underneath a lot of those emergency repairs was critical. So this is more than just necessarily repaving the Ship Canal Bridge with fresh new concrete. It allows us to also get the concrete up off the structure all the way down to the rebar and see is there any other damage into the structure and also repair that as we go. So that was it. We were able to get some crews some good experience over the summer with that. Let's jump to the next slide. This is the drainage work that I was talking about. We had a number of weekend closures along southbound I-5 to replace what we call scuppers. At the top, you can see kind of an older drain style. I think this is probably from the 60s, but we're modernizing those. You can see the Mount Drainier scupper that many folks saw on Instagram. Also down below, another picture of another modern inlet. But these are the ways that we're able to get that drainage system up to par to manage a lot of the stormwater we have much more efficiently there. So we finished early. We only need 4 of 6 weekends of scheduled work, replaced roughly 108 scuppers and inlets. And Mount Drainier, if you haven't seen it, check it out on Instagram. One of the ways we're trying to keep this work in the minds of people as we go through this lull in construction, prepping for the big stuff happening here, potentially starting this Friday. Let's jump to the next one. This is what we can expect. This is the construction schedule. As I mentioned, we're hopefully starting work this Friday evening. We're going to make the go weather call as we approach the weekend. Part of that is we have to put a mile of striping down on the roadway to transition. We can't paint in the rain, so we need a dry weather window. So if we have to delay for any reason, we'll shift to the next available weekend and continue this work. But it's really critical that we start. This schedule you'll see here is, at least for the front half, is mostly geared around that January 9th date. Again, once we reopen, we're in that 2-lane configuration, basically through World Cup. World Cup hits. We enjoy some soccer, and then it's back. And then we're on the other side of the Ship Canal Bridge, working until the end of 2026, and then completing the northbound side of the structure. Let's jump to the next slide real quick. I've talked a lot about northbound full closures. To set up our traffic control, we do have to close a good stretch of northbound I-5 for weekends. A lot of the ramps to downtown are open. The closure point is just north of the Madison Dearborn Street exits. We'll still have entrances in the express lanes. You still will be able to access downtown and the stadiums. This traffic control here does, though, give us the ability to manage the traffic of I-5 much more effectively. We'll go through this really quick. I'm trying not to be too long here. This is what the resurfacing of the bridge deck looks like. The machine over to the right, the hydro demolition machine, uses high pressure water to essentially tear off the upper lift of concrete all the way down to the rebar. We're replacing with fresh new concrete, which you'll see a little bit of on the next slide. These are the expansion joints. We're actually cutting into the roadway and replacing it. It is a pretty time-intensive effort. We've done that on other parts of I-5 over the years, but these are also high-impact things that we tackle simultaneously with the new concrete, which you can see behind the workers on the left. And last but not least, I talked about the scuppers, but here's all the drainage systems underneath the Ship Canal Bridge, a lot of the pipes that funnel that water, also replacing those with new, modern, more easily serviceable systems. Last slide here before I toss it over to Michelle here, but these are some of the pictures of some of the damage, the emergency repairs that we've had to fill in various ways, shapes, or forms. Atkinson Construction will be making sure that if anything does pop up on the bridge, that's our contractor, they'll be mobilizing to fix any of these potholes that do occur while we're simultaneously rehabbing the Ship Canal Bridge. With that, I'll pass over to Michelle to talk about some of the project communications efforts. Michelle.
Hey, thanks, Travis. So, project communications wise, we very much understand that a lot of people don't listen to us. So, what we wanted to do and what we wanted to ensure is that a lot of our project partners from, I see a lot of names on this call from King County Metro, this SDOT, and of course our friends at Commute Seattle. They'll most likely listen to them. And so we want to make sure that they have the tools they need to be able to share those communications. So similar to all the other folks on this call, we provide a project toolkit that has just your standard project information, some draft social media post, and anything else we could potentially provide from those graphics of the maps that were in some of our slides earlier, as well as things that are translated. We know how important that a lot of folks don't, or English isn't their first language. And so if we have the ability to provide information in a different language, we are going to try to do that. So in this toolkit, which I think Tara could probably send out in a follow-up email, it's a Dropbox. You can download everything from project one-pagers, flyers that we actually use at a lot of our events. There's posters that if you ever or if you've recently walked through some of the Eastlake U District Wallingford neighborhoods are actually in the windows of a lot of our small businesses because we have been doing a lot of work to reach out to those folks to ensure that as you're just sort of milling around, you know that this work is happening. Are also blog posts. We'll share sort of all of the information that we share out as best we can. So you have access to that and can sort of tailor the messages that we're creating to better fit your audiences. Um, and we're also adapting and creating new materials as needs arise. So if you have a specific audience that you are really interested in reaching out to, please reach out. We're happy to sort of find ways in which to reshift some of our messaging so it better fits who you're trying to reach, or just sort of creatively come up with different ways to share our information. One example is we were working with the Port of Seattle to make sure TNC drivers in particular that are taking folks to and from the airport actually had a really quick guide as to when and where closures were happening. That also got translated into a lot more languages than the 7 you see here on this slide. We translate everything we have into those 7 languages for this specific TNC flyer. We also have it translated in a couple more of the East African languages, and then Punjabi, I believe, was the other languages. So as you understand your audiences, if there's a language you think we would really benefit to have information in, let us know. In addition to that, next slide. We worked really hard on a defined look and feel for our messaging. What you will see is this, we're reviving the Ship Canal Bridge, and then sort of this rainbow looking color scheme. It's consistent through everything we do. We wanted to ensure that when you were interacting with something, you knew this was a Revive I-5 project. Our partners also add that little logo, Revive I-5, to a lot of their materials, so that you while you don't always see just WSDOT materials, you know they belong in that WSDOT family, in that Revive I-5 family. And these are some examples of those items in that Dropbox folder. To the far left is our one pager. One thing we learned over the summer that we are addressing right now in 2026 communications is nobody knows how to use express lanes. And so really explaining that everybody can use express lanes. There are some ramps, both on and off ramps, that are HOV only. And there's also a height restriction to the express lanes. But if you are arriving, especially from mainline, and there's an opportunity to hop on the express lanes, that ramp for that exit is open to everybody. And then the poster is that third item on the slide right now. That's what's hanging in a lot of small businesses in some of those high impact neighborhoods. And then the final item, the fourth one, is our flyer. Everybody loves just a little handout that gives you the most pertinent information. These are the maps of where the closures are happening, and these are the dates. And last slide. We're also asking you to follow and amplify WSDOT social media. If anybody's familiar with WSDOT social media, we've gotten some bangers in there, especially around the I-5 work. From that, we got ahead of Taylor Swift on her announcement back in August, I believe. And then, of course, we had, I think, over 6,000 people vote to help us name a scupper. We're trying to lessen the impact as much as we can. We put a lot of cute little animals in hats to help deliver the messages that while might not be the most excited you'll hear when you're like, oh, WashDOT's closing down all of northbound I-5 from I-90 to Northeast 45th Street, we will give you a little animal in a hard hat to help lessen that blow. But very effective communications too. Over the 4 weeks since summer, we had 14 million impressions across platforms, over 750,000 engagements. People love drainage, which is why we named a scupper, but just another opportunity to share those messages through our social media, and just go ahead and hit that share button whenever you get a chance. And with that, we are open to taking questions. And I see some written in the chat too, but hand it over to Commute Seattle.
Yes, thank you so much, Travis and Michelle. We did receive a few questions in the Q&A, so I'll start with those. I will ask the first two together because they're a bit related. So, hi, Travis. With a chance of rain in the Northwest forecast, how solid is WashDOT about starting this weekend? When will information about final go or no go be available for Friday's schedule work?
So this is we live in the Pacific Northwest, and I think we've all seen forecasts that are wrong. We can see conditions change pretty quick. We're going to be making the well, let's put it this way: we're a go unless weather prohibits us from getting that striping in. So we're going to be working with our contractor because they need that window to get the striping completed. That's what all of this hinges on. So just to be super clear. Having the weather call sometime on Thursday night, Thursday evening, and then shipping out that information to folks as soon as possible, likely on Friday. We want to make sure that folks understand this is going to happen, but so I would say plan for this to be a go unless that forecast changes and we can't get that weather window in. So we're going to be really watching the forecast leading up to the start of this closure on Friday night.
Got it. Next question, like maybe for you, Michelle. Due to security policy, our company does not allow the use of Dropbox. Is there a website link where we can access communications material?
We currently don't have a website because the Dropbox is password protected. What we can do is, if you would like to shoot me an email, we can email some of that, or we can zip a file or something and send you those materials. So feel free to reach out. Tara, I don't know if my email address is going to be somewhere in follow-up materials or.
Yeah, we'll make sure to include your
Okay,
contact information in
perfect.
that follow-up so they can connect with you.
Right.
Thank you, Michelle. Next question is, why won't the downtown express lanes be open to all to ease mainline congestion?
I'm assuming we're talking about the HOV on-ramps from downtown Seattle. So that's something that we've been working with the city on. I think just something to remember here is the signal system has to allow the vehicles to actually get to that ramp. And in working with the city, we want to make sure that as we use those downtown entrances into the express lanes, we don't end up causing a lot of additional congestion in the downtown core that will create longer lines in those express lanes. So we want to make sure they're not too popular down there. And the best way to do that is keeping those HOV only for the time being. That being said, there's other ways to use express lanes with some SOV routes as well.
Great. I got a couple follow-up questions to the first two. According to the I-405 team, they have machines that can instantly dry the pavement in advance of spray painting. Can WSDOT at Atkinson deploy those to I-5 and guarantee staying on schedule?
That's some of the things that, I mean, they're going to pull a lot of the tricks out of their hat, and definitely looking at ways to make sure we can get some dry pavement, but it all depends on how the water flows over the surface and how much water comes down. There are limits to even some of those machines. I think also, to put this in perspective, there's roughly a mile of striping to put down. And so it's drying the pavement, ensuring it'll cure, and also be it'll last while we subject it to the travel conditions come Monday morning. So looking at a couple different areas there.
Thanks, Serena. I think we have time for about two more, and I know we had some that were pre-submitted, so can we make sure to get a couple from the pre-submitted questions before we move on to the Commute Seattle presentation?
Absolutely. Thank you to those who submitted questions in advance. For Travis and Michelle, why can't more lanes or the entire facility be closed to complete the work faster?
Well, just looking at this hydro demolition work takes a lot of time. So does replacing the expansion joints. All these things do take time. This is actually fairly slow, tedious work. Just looking at the some of the past slides with our schedule, it can take months for us to complete just one side of the Ship Canal Bridge. Now imagine having the entire structure shut down for months on end. The amount of diversion that we'd be sending to the east side or other routes like 99 or into the Seattle streets, at least from our perspective, just was an unacceptable path to take, even though it was the most aggressive path forward. In addition, while Revive I-5 is a high impact project, it's not the only thing happening around the Puget Sound. There is an awful lot of work on 520. There was also multiple projects on the 405 corridor as well. So we're trying to balance the need of aggressive schedule versus also keeping everybody moving, and closing 2 lanes for months on end was about as far as we were willing to push it.
Thank you. And final question for you all. Was delaying the project until the 2026 light rail extension considered? And why or why not?
We actually delayed this project once to make sure we could have Linwood Link in operation to provide some additional transit options to a lot of the drivers, particularly from the north end. Now, this is a different light rail line that's going to reopen. We had to take a good hard look at that, and also look at the bridge deck. And I just want to refer back to the 200 plus emergency repairs that we're actually seeing on the bridge since 2018, I believe. This is an urgent issue. And so, yes, we want to make sure there are transit options. We want to make sure that folks can move. But if we want to make sure we're never in a position where a lane closes and our maintenance crews could not reopen it, we had to act and get our contractor on board and actively deployed to resurface this bridge.
Yeah, sounds like
It's a careful balance. All this stuff is it's really about a balancing act here.
a lot of moving parts, huh?
Yep.
Okay, well, thank you so much. In the interest of time, I will turn it over to Tara.
All right. Thank you so much, Serena. And thank you to Travis and Michelle for taking the time to share about this really important project. Like Travis said, it is all a balance. And so we are going to get through it together. It is incredible, important work, and we all get a safer system on the other side of it. And it's going to be challenging, challenging to navigate through. But we're here to help provide some resources and strategies for you to keep your teams moving during Revive I-5. And so with that, we'll go to our first slide. This kind of level setting. Why care? Why care about the commute? Why care about how folks are showing up to your workplace, how your visitors are coming to your businesses? And I just wanted to share this really interesting chart from our last Seattle commute survey. We know that commutes set the tone for the day, And our survey showed us that folks who drive alone to work are the least satisfied commuters with their mode choice. And so getting more folks keyed into transportation benefits, shifting their mode is always important to increase satisfaction. And it's going to be so important during the year ahead with the construction happening across our major interstate. So with that, we're going to share some strategies, starting with communicate early and often. This one is free and highly impactful. So you heard from Michelle about the project toolkit that they've created to make it really easy for you to share this information with your employees, as well as with your business that has visitors, clients, patients, customers, sharing that information with them as well. And we'll be sure to share that information with you in our follow-up. Commute Seattle has also created a flyer that is specifically for transportation coordinators at Seattle's largest businesses and properties. And that is available on our website. We'll share that as well as a resource. But we ask that you post that information in break rooms, elevators, if you have an intranet, a Slack, a Teams channel, anywhere that you can share it. You all just became a lot more knowledgeable, and now your job is to pass on that knowledge to your employees so that nobody is surprised come Friday night, come Monday morning about what's going on. So please share this information and continue to share it throughout the project. Again, if you do have visitors, clients, patients, customers, and you send out any advanced communications like know before you go information to ticket holders, appointment reminders for patients, sharing project information about Revive I-5 construction, as well as transit information about how to best get to your business or property can go a long way in helping people know what their options are and choose another mode beyond just hopping in the car and getting stuck in traffic and showing up late and having a bad time. Real-time intel. We know that every day out there can be a little different. Traffic patterns really shift between weekdays, Mondays and Fridays, fewer folks on the roads, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, a lot more traffic volume. And so sharing some of the real-time traffic information feeds so that your team can check that before they head out the door and make the decision about what is the best mode to take that day to get into work can be really helpful just to keep that information flowing throughout the course of this project. Another really easy one to do today, this week, Monday, is just to remind your teams about the existing transportation benefits that you already have in place. Most folks, they start a new job, they do their HR paperwork, maybe they get an ORCA card handed to them, and then they kind of forget about all the benefits that are available to them. And so reminding folks that, hey, you might have a bike room that is available for people to securely store their bike. You might have a pre-tax deduction option for paying for transportation costs. You might have van pool already activated. Just letting people know, reminding them of the benefits that are available to them can, again, go a long way in helping people know that they have options and how they're choosing to get around every day during this period. All right, next slide. All right, so if you don't already provide this benefit, this is the one that I recommend that you look into. We've got Enroll in Orca Business Passport here as a really impactful strategy for helping people get around, getting to work, but also getting around for personal trips. Orca Business Passport is an all-inclusive, unlimited benefit that can work on transit across the region. Highly cost-effective for businesses, and it includes some of the other incredible programs offered by King County Metro, including Van Pool, Van Share, Metro Flex, which is a on-demand transit service in select service areas, and the Home Free Guarantee benefit. New and returning customers are eligible for an incentive discount on top of the already low cost-effective rates. Our team here at Commute Seattle, we've got 2 staff who are dedicated to supporting businesses with understanding their options for providing this benefit. We'd be happy to help you discuss what your workforce needs are, help you understand how to get started with that. But this benefit is great because it can be used for getting to work, but also getting to those other important places that people like to go, including games down at the stadium, the airport, destinations, going out to our world-class museums, theaters, etc. And so really wonderful tool available to businesses at a special business only rate. So please look into that if you don't have that in place already. Our next strategy here is exploring additional incentive subsidies and rewards. So we know that rewards work. Folks love a challenge, and the timing of this project happens to fall under the new year. Happy 2026. So you might consider encouraging a new year, new commute challenge at your workplace with rewards for people who take transit or who are braving the January weather to get on their bike and to get to work. This can look a lot of different ways. It could be as simple as just a one-time event to recognize folks who didn't drive to the workplace that day, or it could be a monetary incentive that is tracked on a regular basis. Our team can help you understand what that might look like for your team. And considering a micromobility subsidy to help with those first and last mile connections can be kind of a game changer for somebody who maybe has a light rail station close to their home, but not one close to their office. And so it's really easy to hop on the light rail, but once they get off the light rail, it's a little too far to walk. They might just want to hop on a Lime or Bird scooter to make that last leg of the journey easier. Providing a micromobility subsidy can encourage that kind of multimodal commuting. And we know this is a really popular option. The city of Seattle just reported that there were over 10 million trips taken on rideshare last year in 2025. So on Lime and Bird devices, scooters, bikes, and gliders. That is a jump from about 6.5 million the year before. And so we expect this form of transportation to only grow in popularity. And so it's a good idea to think about adding that into your benefit suite if you have the ability to do so. Our next strategy here is check your facilities. If you have on-site parking for either employees or visitors, we like to call this carpool royalty. Save the best parking spots for your van poolers and your car poolers. Those spots that are like right next to the elevator, first level of parking garage, those are the prime spots. And rewarding folks who are choosing to commute collectively with their coworkers is a nice perk to offer, and pretty low cost, no cost for you if you already have that parking infrastructure in place. We know that people who bike to work are the happiest commuters, and so I really encourage you to be a pro bike workplace. If you do not already have on-site bike storage, take a look around, connect with your facilities manager, connect with your operations team. Is there a storage closet somewhere that hasn't been used in a long time? Do you have some parking spots that have gone untouched that could be converted into secured bike parking with a chain link fence? See what is around, see if you can get creative, and including bike tools like a pump and basic tools can help people feel a little more confident in biking to work, knowing that if a little issue comes up along the way, that they have the tools to take care of their bike and get back home. And I also know that our friends over at Cascade Bike Club are planning to bring back the Bike to Work Challenge later this spring. So, it's January, maybe people don't want to bike to work right now, but this project's going to be with us for a while, and come May, they might be more interested in hopping on the bike. And there's going to be a challenge and rewards in place there for folks to track those rides, log their miles, and get rewarded for doing so. So keep an eye out from us. We'll be sharing that information as it becomes available. So you don't have to create a reward system. It'll already be in place. And we'll be share that as we get closer to that springtime. Finally, if you are go back to the last slide, please. If you are a business that is affected by the commute trip reduction law, or you are a property that has a transportation management plan, you would already know if you are, and if you do, you'll be getting a program report from the Commute Seattle team later this month, which will show you all of your benefits and amenities in one place, and it will show you how your company compares to your industry peers, as well as your neighbors. And we can help walk you through that report and look for some opportunities for where you can level up your amenities and your benefits, become more competitive, and really be resourcing your employees as best as you can during this time, while also making progress towards your commute trip reduction goals at the same time. Right. Next slide, please. All right, this one, I think we all know we're going to need to be flexible during this time. We're going to need to be patient, and we're going to need to leave our houses earlier. If you're providing on-site work that doesn't have a hard start time in order to complete the functions of the position, see if you can shift the clock by offering either earlier or later start windows so that folks can dodge that peak congestion time, kind of alleviate some of the pain points of getting down into the workplace. Offering guaranteed ride home. This is like a benefit that you never want to use, but you're so glad that you have it when you need it. For people who take transit to work and have a sudden emergency that come up, this is like a insurance plan. If you didn't drive to work that day and you suddenly need to get across town, you can call your guaranteed ride home. So if you're already providing the Orca Passport program, that comes with 8 free guaranteed ride homes per year. We also know that many businesses provide this benefit just in-house through a business Lyft or Uber plan. So it's a great way to get folks to try a new mode of getting to work, knowing that they have the peace of mind if something happens, that they can get to where they need to go with that guaranteed ride home. Right? Next slide. This one, yeah, get to know your transit stops. If you're not a transit rider yourself, maybe step outside your building and take a look around. See what the nearest transit station is and the nearest transit stop. Get familiar with it so that you can feel comfortable sharing that information with your teams, with your visitors. Some of the fast and frequent north and south transit routes, you want to keep an eye out for these numbers on the transit stops near your building or workplace. Of course, there's the Link 1 line, which goes from Linwood now all the way down to Federal Way. And there's also the King County Metro routes 40, 48, and Rapid Ride D and E. I know that our partners over at WSDOT recently worked to make some surface adjustments to create some bus-only lanes on Aurora Avenue to make sure that those routes are continuing to be fast and reliable, north-south connections. And we know that our partners at King County Metro will be adding some capacity as well during Revive I-5. They'll be adding up to 17 buses on key routes as needed to be deployed kind of based on capacity, wait times, etc. And so I know they do this in the summertime as well, but know that our partners are looking to add capacity on those most used routes during Revive I-5. Next slide, please. All right. As I said, if you missed the big news last month, the Linwood 1 line now goes all the way down to Federal Way. There's 3 brand new stations, Kent, Des Moines, Star Lake, and Federal Way. And a really popular option is driving to a light rail station, parking your car at the park and ride, and hopping on the one line. So we've just listed out here each of the one line stations that has a park and ride facility and the number of spaces that are available at those facilities as well. Of course, there are other park and rides that exist at other transit hubs for taking other forms of transit, such as buses. So I know we've got a list that we'll share as a follow-up material as well, so that you can share that information with your employees so that they can, bypass the most congested part of the freeway by just driving to the park and ride and sailing past the traffic on the one line. And of course, we'll be looking ahead later this year to the two line full opening across the lake. That will be a transformative infrastructure for our region that will make our region more connected. So we'll be excited to celebrate that later this year and have more options for folks for those cross-link connections. Okay, next slide, please. The 3 apps that you and your employees and visitors should download right now, if you don't have these ones already. One is One Bus Away. So this is a super helpful tool. I use it every single day. It gives you real-time transit data that helps you take the guess out of when is my bus going to show up. So you can even bookmark your favorite routes, your favorite transit stops, so that you can reference that as needed. Take a look at One Bus Away before you're leaving the office to see if you can stay inside a little bit longer, if the bus is a little bit delayed, or if the bus is on time and you need to get out the door. Number 2, I think most people already have this one downloaded, but Google Maps is not just for driving directions. It is a really helpful tool for getting transit, bike, and other mode directions. And you can even set your Google Maps to have an arrive by option so that you don't have to guess which bus you should catch in the morning. You can preset your arrive by time, 9 a.m. to your destination, your workplace, and Google Maps will tell you the best route to take and what time you'll need to get on that bus. The third app here is the Transit Go ticket app. So this is a really helpful app if you have an Orchid card through work or purchased individually and you just happen to forget it at home, or if you have a friend in town or a family member in town and you need to pick up a ticket for them to ride along with you, you can easily purchase tickets for all of our transit agencies. And you can even earn rewards in the app that can be used for future rides. Super handy. I used this recently when my mom was visiting, and it was very easy, and she had a great time on the bus. And it was made possible by Transit Go ticket app. All right, next slide, please. Speaking of rewards and resources, you can actually link your Transit Go ticket app to your Lime app, and you can get even more rewards if you bike and scoot your way to a transit destination. This is a program through the city and county. Really awesome tool for incentivizing the use of micromobility to earn free transit rides for every scooter, points towards transit rides for every scooter ride that you take. I know this is a really popular one. Several members on our team use it and love it. And also just want to make sure you know about the Flip Your Trip resource, which is what I would call a one-stop shop for planning your trip on transit, biking, walking, and rolling. So if you want to get around and you don't want to drive and you don't know where to start, go to flipyourtrip.org. That is where you can find so many resources about how to get around in a different way. And with that, we've got our last strategy here, which is to stay connected with us. We are a resource to you during this time and always. We are here to help you shift from your drive alone trip to another mode. And we send out monthly communications that are chock full with tips, ideas, strategies, partner resources through our On the Move newsletter. We also have a newsletter that is designated just for transportation coordinators at major employers. It's called Connections. It launched a couple of months ago. And so you can follow that QR code on your screen, or there should be a link in the chat for you to get subscribed to our communications. We also share out WSDOT information in that newsletter as well. So you'll never miss a Revive I-5 update from us. It'll be there. And some great ideas and tip sheets for you to share with your employees each month in there as well. And with that, I am going to hand it back to Zarina to see if we've got any questions about how to keep your teams moving during Revive I-5 before we wrap up.
Sure do. First question for you, Tara. How might clients and customers be affected by Revive I-5?
Yeah, great question. I think if you are leaving your house and going somewhere, you're probably going to be affected by Revive I-5. So if you are an employee, if you're a client, if you're a customer, you're traveling to a destination, you're going to want to give yourself more time to get there. And if you are an employer who has some sort of power over the benefits and facilities that you provide, providing benefits like carpool parking, secure bike parking, transit directions on your public-facing materials, all of those benefits for your employees will also support your customers and your clients. So think about both of those groups during this time as you are navigating Revive I-5. Think about how you can maximize the facilities that you already have, the benefits that you already provide for your employees to your client and customer audience as well. See where there's that overlap.
Thank you, Tara. Yes, we will all be impacted. Next question is, will there be additional public transit service, supplementary transportation options, or special service dates during construction?
Yeah, so as mentioned, our partners at King County Metro will be adding additional buses to those key routes as needed throughout the construction period. So I will look to them for what those routes are. They're going to be monitoring their data really closely so that they can most effectively implement those additional resources. And then, of course, the two-line connection. That will be a lot more service coming online to make our region a lot more connected, and really excited for that. It's going to be transformational.
Excited indeed. Next question, we have enough time for a couple more. Are there specific programs or resources available to help organizations encourage alternative commuting?
Yeah, definitely. I would again highlight the Orca Business programs. These are programs that are just for businesses. So specifically the Orca Business Passport program is a special business only rate for providing Orca cards to your employees. So you can't get this product on your own if you're an employee or just an individual looking for an Orca card. So it's an incredible program to make transportation more affordable for workers and to also enhance your benefits package and make you a more desirable workplace for workers to be at. And if you are a new or returning customer, there is an incentive discount. So those low prices can be made a little lower. You can also combine pre-tax deductions, do a little cost sharing with your employees to offset the business costs as well. And so really encourage you, if you don't provide that already, look into it. Our team can really workshop through a couple of different scenarios of how that might work best for your teams.
That sounds great. And with that, if we can go to the next slide, please. Just want to give a very special thank you again to Michelle, Travis, Tara, William on our team behind the scenes. Commute Seattle is here to help you throughout this period of Revive I-5. Our contact information, whether it's Orca or if you just want general help, every site is different depending on your location, what service is available at where your work site is. So we're happy to walk you through your options. We're in a region where we're lucky enough to have many options. I'm a ferry commuter myself. I ferry bus every day, and I'm grateful for that. So please reach out for any further questions and subscribe to our newsletter. My last plug. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone.